well, what am I gonna do? I have all my suitcases. I have everything else ready. I have my plane ticket. I'm leaving in a week and I need this test. Hey guys, it's Olivia. Welcome back. If you're new here, thank you for dropping in. You might want to check out this video first because it'll give you a little bit more context about this one. But basically, this is a little series I'm doing to talk about my journey into becoming a world traveler and just all the places I've been so far since from 2019 all the way up to February 2023. Right now we're at 2022 when I decided to go outside of the United States for the second time. So again, you might need a little bit of context, but I'm going to just be talking as if you already have it because it's right over there if you want to see it. Okay, moving on. So once I decided I was going to be going to Peru, I did kind of start watching the news closer and everything, and I was kind of becoming a little hesitant because even though this was 2021 and the vaccine had even made it down to Peru at this point, it was still a little bit nerve-wracking because I just kept remembering the stories of some classmates and just, friends of friends I had known who wanted to take advantage of the cheap flights during 2020, and they hopped on a plane and ended up in a country where they, everything shut down, and all of a sudden they can't get home. There's nowhere to go buy food. You're just locked in your hotel room. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if I get stuck? Because I had finally found myself in a comfortable position with my current job and everything. And also as a nurse, I didn't want to be a bad example. I was kind of like, is it okay to be traveling yet? Or is it still too early? And at this point, after the initial shock of me just being like, yes, I'm coming to your country, Angelo was starting to get excited too. He was kind of like, when are you coming? Where are you coming? Because now I really want this to be a thing. And finally, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to come. I'm coming in July. And so I started getting everything together. I was so excited. I got all kinds of travel gear. I got this really cute suitcase set. Actually, I have one piece of the set here, so let me go show you guys real quick. So this is my big, beautiful suitcase that I bought for myself. It's the first personal suitcase I had. I used one from a family member to go to London, and I just thought it was so beautiful and pink. It's from Away. I'm in no way sponsored by anyone or anything, as cool as that would be. But I do recommend them. So I'm going to open it up now and show you. Okay, this is the really big one that I had. So it's got a really nice little compression piece right here. Oh, raise it up so y'all can see. Yes, this little compression is amazing. If I ever make a packing video, we're going to talk a lot about that because it really does add so much space. But yeah, just for now to have an idea of how bad of an overpacker I am, I literally brought the suitcase this size, a carry-on about half the size, and a little handbag that you could put onto the little handles right here, which was also pretty cool. And I had gone to a travel clinic. This was part of the problem with my overpacking. So I went to a travel clinic to make sure I had all the appropriate vaccines, that I didn't need anything extra. Because also, I literally did not know what I was getting into. I didn't even know. I knew that Peru is a developing country, so I was like, oh my gosh. My crazy self was like, is there malaria? Is there yellow fever? What all do I need to be getting ready for? Even though I was just doing a 5-day trip that was going to be pretty much exclusively in the coastal region, mostly in the capital city of Lima. But one of the things the travel lady said to me that scared me so bad at the clinic was, she was like, oh my God, you cannot drink the water. You cannot as much as brush your teeth with the tap water because you will get so sick. Because I went on a trip to Aruba and I got sick from brushing my teeth with the tap water. She's like, do not let it touch your lips. Don't open your mouth in the shower, nothing. So a huge portion of this suitcase was literally right in here, just a bunch of bottled water that I took with me. And another huge portion of the suitcase, the big one, was not clothing, but I decided I wanted to bring presents because presents are my love language. And I brought a bunch of like liquids and stuff that had to be packaged carefully. I am from the South, so I was like, I'm going to bring them moonshine. And I also have a distinctive beverage from my state that I decided to bring them. And also these cookies. They're cookies specifically from my city that pack very well, have long shelf life. And I'm like, I'm bringing all these things. And I put them in little Tupperware so that they wouldn't get crushed. So I think that literally this portion right here was water, moonshine, other alcoholic beverages, and American sodas, and just some wrapped cookies. I am a horrible overpacker, but it's okay. I was learning. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming with me to see that suitcase. I really did enjoy it, and I did start sizing down my packing a lot more, starting with my next international trip. But it was a good lesson, and that suitcase has served me for other things like packing while I'm going on travel nurse assignments, or, if I'm going somewhere within the country or just on a more chill trip, kind of like what the Salima one should have been, but I just didn't know yet. But yeah, so that suitcase is really great. So I have this cute suitcase set together. I have all the gifts packed. I have my water because I'm terrified of the water down there. I have all my health records. I already have my passport from my time in London. And as an American, I did not need a visa, but I ran into a huge problem because at the time, Peru was still pretty strict and serious about 2020 related restrictions. I had some paperwork I needed to fill out, which was no big deal, like, before I came and then right as I come in. But part of the paperwork was a 72-hour PCR test. So that means that from the time I was going to get onto the plane, I needed to have had a negative PCR test within 72 hours from that time. And so I didn't think anything of it because at my hospital, we would give people those tests and we had them back before the end of shift. So I went out and to a local clinic that I used for any other health stuff I had going on because I didn't really have a primary at the time. And I said, hey, luckily I asked before it was actually time because I was just trying to be sure because, everything was crazy surrounding that stuff and changing all the time. I was like, hey, I'm going to come back. I think I said next week I would like to come back and I want to make sure that I can get a PCR test with you guys that will be available basically, next day or maybe even within 48 hours so that I can do international travel because the country I'm going to requires that. I got laughed out of the office. They were like, that is not a thing. There is not a place in the state you're going to find that you can get a PCR test turnaround time in under 5 days up to a week. And I was like, what, seriously? And at this point, I'm like, okay, it must be that stuff is expedited and we have our own lab in the hospital. And I had just never thought about that. And there was just, everybody was getting tested still all the time. So it was just like, oh, shoot. And I went down to the capital city. And same thing, I was calling up all the clinics, even a large hospital that had an outpatient clinic. They were all like, yeah, no way, not in under 5 days. And I was just like, well, what am I going to do? I have all my suitcases. I have everything else ready. I have my plane ticket. I'm leaving in a week and I need this test. But I was not letting anything stop me. So what I did was I lived on a border town at the time. And the state above us was a lot stricter about 2020 stuff than us, to the point that their governor at one point said that residents of that state should not go down into our state during 2020 because we weren't being serious enough. It was funny because I had a lot of coworkers who lived up there because, like I said, my town is so close, and they were just like, yeah, I guess I'll have to get like one of those exemption papers if I'm going to keep working here if the governor doesn't want us crossing the borders. Anyways, since they were more serious about all those things, maybe they will also be better about turnaround times for PCR tests. And sure enough, I call up a clinic in a small little town in that state. I mean, it was literally just big enough to have a clinic. That's how small the town was. And they said, oh my gosh, yes, we can get you one like basically same day or next day. And I was like, okay, I'm coming. I drove my happy butt 5 hours up On a night that I was working, I basically just didn't sleep that day. I napped in my car before work. Drove up 5 hours to get my nose swabbed, drove back down. 90% sure, if I remember correctly, I had to drive back up because something with like medical privacy stuff and the clinic itself, they couldn't get it faxed to me. So I drove up there again, got the little paper, drove back down, and that was the night before I was going to leave to the airport in my capital city. And I remember I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I actually made this happen. And then I called Ankel from my car. I'm like, look, I had my test. I'm going to do this. And we were both so happy. I was so proud of myself because, you know, the whole where there's a will, there's a way. I made that a true thing that day. um, but yeah, so then I have everything together. I had my flight to where I had the opportunity to go back to my house and make sure that I really, really had everything before I went down. But you know, I was sitting in the break room that last night. Everything's ready. I just need to go back up and get my suitcases after work and get down to the airport. And I remember this little doubt popped up in my head. This whole time, you know, I had been a little bit nervous about the logistics and maybe getting stuck, but I never questioned Angel. And in this moment, I was kind of just had this pause moment. I'm less than 24 hours away from my flight, and I'm thinking, well, what if this isn't who I think it is? What if this person isn't actually a good person? What if I never come back? And yeah, I mean, it was scary because it was perfectly possible. This is somebody that I have never met in real life before, and I'm going down the first time by myself as a United States citizen and pretty young female. And at that moment, as I'm thinking about that with my lunch, one of my favorite coworkers, her name was Brittany, came in and she's like, "Are you excited for your flight?" Because my coworkers actually knew more details than my parents at this point. My parents only knew I was going to Peru. I did not tell them I was meeting with someone because I was going to do it anyway, and I didn't want them to worry unnecessarily because I'm like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I had told my coworkers, and I even told them it was a guy. And I just told Brittany, I was like, you know, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, because I have a really good feeling about this person. I feel like they're an awesome person, and that's part of why I want to go down there and meet them and also just get the cultural experience and all that stuff because I'm very adventurous. But just now, a part of me is wondering if maybe I'm being stupid and maybe this is actually a bad person. And Brittany, you know, she looked down at her drink that she was getting warmed up in the break room, and she was like, you know, I think you're somebody with pretty good judgment. And if you've thought about it for this long and you felt good about it, so good to, you know, do all this stuff to get ready, including some crazy things and get a plane ticket. It's perfectly normal to have this pause moment, but I trust your judgment, Olivia, and you should just go down there and have fun because you only live once and you're so young. And I'm so happy that Brittany told me that because like she actually knew me enough. She wasn't just a random person. She knew me enough to know how my judgment was. So thank you so much, Brittany, because you gave me so much comfort in that moment. And then it was time to go up to my house, put all my things together really fast, call my mom and like tell her, "Mom, I have all these things. What am I forgetting? Am I forgetting my toothbrush or my deodorant?" And go down to the airport. I am leaving you guys there with this short little video because we're going to talk all about Peru next week. So stay tuned. Be watching out next Friday. Hit the bell to subscribe if you haven't already. And yes, thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Bye, y'all. I will be talking more about that if I ever make some videos, and I did not put my ring light on. Oh, if you heard a bleep just then, it's because I used a word that I'm not sure if it was okay or not. I'm really pretty sure it is, but I'm just trying to be uber cautious. Okay, bye for real, y'all.